you know, the biggest organised group in this country is still the union movement. We hear such a lot about how union membership has gone down, and it has, but it remains the biggest civil organised group of people in this country. So we're very, very happy to have representatives here from 4 different unions, the NTEU, Lachlan, Paul Peterson from the MUA, and Andrew Irvine from the ETU, and Janet Baillie from my union, the Queensland Nurses and Midwives Union. I'm going to start off with Janet, actually, and give her the floor. So we'll have the presentations, and then again, we'd love to have your engagement and ideas of, you know, of really building on this, you know, biggest organised group in this country to work towards all the changes that we've heard talked about today. So Janet, welcome.
Thank you, Annette. Thank you, everybody. And what a day. Seriously, we have learnt so much, and thank you to the organisers and to all the fascinating speakers. I too am very pleased to be here. I come from the country of the Yagara and Turrbal people, and recognising we meet today here on Ngunnawal country, I too pay my respects to the traditional custodians. Thanks for the opportunity to talk briefly about union power. A commonality between peace and union movements is that people in these groups value safety above all else. The priority Queensland Nurses and Midwives Union places upon physical and psychological safety is evident in the employment of wellbeing officers, of whom I am one. Aligning with IPAN's values too, growing power is a key part of QNMU purpose. I'll share some examples of people power demonstrated by unionists. Each instance upholds Hari Hand's insight, published in the New York Times in 2019. She said, "To build power, outrage needs organisation." Post-publication of her book, How Organisations Develop Activists, Dr. Han was keynote speaker at QNMU Annual Conference in 2017. Her research looks at how associations blend online and offline strategies to build their activist base and grow power by getting people involved. The QNMU has exercised union power by organising outrage in many ways. Nurses and midwives are committed to a peaceful struggle for safe conditions with the long-standing QNMU Ratio Saves Lives campaign. In 2016, Queensland became the 4th jurisdiction in the world to pass a law establishing minimum nurse-to-patient ratios in public hospitals. The methods by which QNMU exercises power with the ongoing Ratio Saves Lives campaign includes rallies, TV ads, calling members before state elections. We tell nurses and midwives which politicians sign pledges supporting the rollout of ratios in healthcare environments and which didn't or don't, because it's still ongoing. Different health sections. On International Nurses Day in 2018, QNMU organised more than 80 nurses and volunteers to conduct surprise audits, reviewing ratios of nursing staff to residents and provision of care in 83 of Queensland's 446 privately run aged care facilities. The damning results were published in the Murdoch Sunday's paper in Brisbane. QNMU Secretary Beth Moll said, "One reason we held the audit was to pull back the veil on the culture of secrecy in Australian aged care." In the lead up to the 2022 federal election, QNMU asked politicians to sign a pledge committing to key aged care reforms recommended by the Aged Care Royal Commission. Who signed and who didn't was again shared with the QNMU membership by telephone, digital messaging, and published on our website. The Implementing Care Bill was recently passed by the Australian Parliament. It legislates for mandated minimum care minutes, registered nurses on site 24/7, financial transparency and accountability on public funding. This kind of reform doesn't happen without significant support. Many QNMU activists, aged care nurses and carers speak out on the situation in aged care. It's thanks to them that aged care has become the national issue it is today. Attaining better legislation is an exercise of a particular kind of union power by influencing politicians. Another type of union power is exercised to change the behaviour of the employers of our members. This year, nurses from Wangabara Aged Care Facility outside Brisbane communicated in a private social media group. Two spoke out and gave witness statements which led to QNMU winning a wage theft dispute in the Fair Work Commission. Wangabara has given an undertaking that it will back pay stolen wages from all nurses who undertook rapid antigen tests in unpaid time for months during the pandemic. The total amount to be paid by Wangabara is around $45,000 or more, plus applicable penalty rates. It is anticipated that this win can be used to reduce the incidence of aged care employers undervaluing safety. The expectation of employers that caregivers do all kinds of unpaid work outside their rostered hours directly increases nurses' fatigue. The last, and perhaps well-known example of union power I'd like to mention is industrial action, such as the withdrawal of labour. It is hard for anyone making the decision to take this action, and in particular for nurses whose focus is fundamentally on the safety of the people for whom they provide care. I remember experiencing this dilemma 9 years ago when involved in protected stop work action with the Australian Red Cross Blood Service. We held a series of hour-long stop work meetings on footpaths outside blood collection centres, after which management returned to the table with a more acceptable package, aligning with the Nurses Award 2010. More recently, the nurses who care for people accessing the Salvation Army alcohol and drug services took protected industrial action in the form of indefinite, just generally lasting 1 hour, stoppages of work. Their action achieved a wage increase of 5%, including 12 months back pay. Their long battle won highly commended for Best Workplace Campaign Award at the Queensland Council of Union Labor Day dinner in 2021. This annual event is known as the Union Logies, at which acknowledgements are given for the best things done by unions covering all workers in Queensland. Regarding the best things done by unions exercising power in Australia, I want to finish by highlighting only two of many outstanding historical actions. An unprecedented national strike in 1976 was coordinated by the ACTU, and 2 million people withdrew their labour across a 24-hour period because Whitlam's universal healthcare system was threatened by the Fraser government. Our unions backed a struggle for justice in 1999 when large protests were organised at Australian airports against the Indonesian airline Garuda. Unionists showed solidarity with the persecuted East Timorese, now East Timor-Leste people, calling for peacemakers to give assistance. Union and peace movements bring people together in campaigns for social justice. We are dedicated to safety, motivated by kindness, and remain inspired by collective achievements to ensure grassroots actions are indeed powerful. Thanks.